One of Ireland's most famous landmarks is Blarney Castle, which welcomes over 400,000 tourists per year. Many of them come for a magical blessing, but instead receive something much darker.
If you've heard of Blarney Castle, it's probably thanks to one particular piece of Carboniferous limestone, which has become one of the most famous rocks in the world, the Blarney Stone.
The Blarney Stone is a stone set into the battlements near the top of the castle wall, about 85 feet up. It runs along the bottom of an opening that, back in the old days, would have been used to pour boiling oil or quicklime on attackers below. It's about 4 feet wide, 1 foot tall, and otherwise looks like any other slab of limestone. No one knows the exact origin of the Blarney Stone itself, but several theories exist, including one linking it to the Bible. One explanation is that the Blarney Stone is the same one used by the biblical figure Jacob in Bethel. It's said to be the stone that Jacob uses as a pillow while he has his famous dream of a ladder reaching heaven. It's eventually brought from the Holy Land during the Crusades. It's taken and placed on a sacred hill in Ireland and named the Lia Fáil, or Speaking Stone.
While the source of the stone is shrouded in mystery, the castle itself dates back to about 950 AD.
The original castle on this site is just a wooden structure, but it's ultimately replaced by a stone building in about 1200. After this one is destroyed, a third and final castle is built in 1446 AD by Dermot McCarthy, King of Munster. And according to one version of the legend, it's during this 1446 construction that the Blarney Stone is added.
The legend is that by kissing the stone, you'll be granted incredible eloquence, the ability to flatter and persuade anyone of anything. It's also known as the gift of gab.
If the stone does have magical powers, they're soon put to the test.
According to legend, Queen Elizabeth I, who rules England and Ireland from 1558 to 1603, wants to seize this castle. She tries several times to make legal arguments that would allow her to take it over, but each time, McCarthy's descendant, Cormac McCarthy, shows off in an incredible way with words and talks his way out of having to give it up.
The other kind of key part of this legend is that Elizabeth herself says of this kind of tricky speech that he's able to use in court is Blarney, and that's kind of where it gets connected.
Ultimately, the Blarney term sticks and it becomes the name of the castle. And word of this famous stone spreads throughout Ireland and eventually to the rest of the world.
Thanks to the famous stone, the castle has been a tourist attraction for over 200 years.
All you have to do to reach the Blarney Stone is pay the admission, and you too can try to receive the gift of gab. But it does require a bit of effort. You have to climb over 100 narrow spiral steps to the top of Blarney Castle. Then lie on your back while hanging out over a ledge, arch your back, and extend your head and neck backwards as far as it can go, then plant a kiss on the stone.
Several famous people have tried to receive the stone's magical blessing, including Mick Jagger and Ronald Reagan.
In 1912, Winston Churchill comes to visit a town close to Blarney Castle, and he's invited to go up and kiss the stone, which he does, and it is claimed that this may be behind his oratory gifts.
But some believe it might actually be dangerous.
Through the years, there have been multiple accounts of people who go to Blarney Castle and instead of getting any magical blessings of the gift of gab, instead, they come home and suffer terrible misfortunes.
According to some castle historians, the reason why goes back to the late 16th century.
After McCarthy is able to keep his castle out of the hands of Queen Elizabeth, he gets himself a little bit of insurance to make sure nobody else can ever get a piece of his beloved home or his beloved Blarney Stone. He orders a curse placed on the castle. Anyone who removes the stone from the property will suffer endless misfortune and misery until it's returned.
Cursed stones in Ireland are an old tradition dating back to prehistoric times.
The Irish have many myths about the supernatural power of rocks. Their collection of stories about cursed stones and wishing stones is more extensive than any other belief system that we know of.
Ireland was once ruled by the Celts, whose religious devotion to stones is well known. It also figured prominently in the beliefs and rituals of the famous sacred Celtic order known as the Druids. On the Blarney Castle grounds, there's actually a Druid circle, and some attribute the curse to this particular feature.
In 2010, one woman from South Carolina claims she is a victim of the cursed stone.
Linda Kelly is an estate agent, and while organizing a sale of items from the home of a retired priest, she buys a rock from Blarney Castle for $1.
Linda doesn't initially know about the Blarney Stone curse. All she knows is that she bought a rock from a man who had an unfortunate life. But within 3 weeks, Linda's own circumstances take a turn for the worse. She loses her job, and she enters a deep depression.
Takes her a while to figure it all out, but once she hears of the Blarney Stone curse, she drives her rock straight to the post office and mails it back to the castle. She feels immediate relief, and her life quickly gets back on track.
Kelly is far from the first to experience this. In 2009, Canadian tourist Liam Serriman tries his luck and takes a rock from the castle.
Serriman hears about the curse while on site visiting the castle, but he ignores it and takes a piece of the wall as a special souvenir.
A few months later, Blarney Castle gets a stone in the mail from him. He explains that he has suffered, quote, months of misfortune, so he apologizes and sends it back. Serriman also asks the castle staff to please put the stone back in the exact same position to make sure his streak of bad luck comes to an end.
The current owner of Blarney Castle, Sir Charles Colthurst, says this is par for the course.
Charles Colthurst reports that he gets several stones each year being returned with stories of curses, and that these are often coming with instructions to put them back from the place in which they were taken from.
This, of course, isn't proof that the Blarney Stone is cursed, but it is proof that a whole bunch of people believe in the curse. And that's really what matters.
At the heart of every curse is belief. Like the legendary Andvari, the ancient Romans or Greeks or the Qin emperor, someone believes that they can protect themselves or harm their enemies with a magic spell.
Or, like the Blarney Stone, a victim of bad circumstances believes they have a dark supernatural origin. Are curses legit? Depends on who you ask, really, but if you've ever been on the business end of a curse, it can feel very, very real.